One of the standout horror movies of the last decade definitely has to be 28 Days Later. Really, really great zombie infection virus horror movie. Directed by Danny Boyle, which is very interesting. I mean, interesting project for him to handle. Because he's really a director who's always into trying new things. Not it doesn't always work in my opinion, but he's a director I like who when he does great movies they're great. Sometimes not so much, and sometimes there's stuff in between like Train Spotting. One of my favorite movies of all time. I don't think he's ever going to top that movie. I love Train Spotting. Then I think he followed up with The Lifeless or Ordinary, which wasn't as good. Um, and like even something like Slumdog Millionaire, it won the Oscar. But I was like, really, that won the Oscar? Um, and Sunshine, I hate that movie. But anyway, 28 Days Later, great, great, great zombie movie. It has the elements of the classic zombie movies. I mean, it definitely isn't modest in the fact that it definitely borrows from what you may see in like a George A. Romero movie. But it takes its own liberties. Like it makes the zombies uh, into like these running rabid creatures, and in a lot of zombie movies, what you will see is the zombie outbreak happens. You see the gatherers, watching on the radio, listening to the TV, switch that, and they're like, where do these zombies come from? Where do these things come from? And most of the cases, like, we don't know. Here it's like, fuck it. Okay, it's an infection started by this monkey. It's a rage virus. It turns people in running rabid rage, which I commend them for just answering it, being like, okay, this is what it is. So it is a zombie movie, but it's not supernatural. It's science fiction. So which I like that. And the thing about the movie, I mean, it captures you right from its opening scene. Like, main character is played by Cillian Murphy, and he wakes up in the hospital, and you see his penis, and like he's running around the streets, and they're completely empty, and it's insane. It's like I don't know how they pulled that off, but it's a very very alarming or disarming scene. And it kind of sets up the tone for the whole movie where you don't know quite what to expect. And, something could be at every corner ready to pop out and scare you. Um, which is something, it's lost in a lot of horror movies, so I give it credit. And one thing the movie does extremely well, in keeping with, the tradition and with some of Romero's movies, keeping in the human element of it, like it does tell a very human story. Um, you feel like this band of survivors are real people, not just, gung-ho, cardboard cutout characters. You feel for them, like Cillian Murphy visits his, house and sees his parents killed themselves. It's heartbreaking. And by the end of it all, you root for them to survive. So that's something, that movies have to earn, and I think this movie does earn it. So it does a really good job, and just like its style and execution is very very frantic and sets the panic onto you that you kind of feel with the main characters, which is really really well done. As always, I mean, Danny Boyle has a great visual eye, also a good ear, which you don't see in every great director. But he always knows to use good music, like that John Murphy track, In the House, In a Heartbeat. Like, that's become such an iconic track associated with this movie and the sequel and other movies. Like, people have picked up on it, but it became kind of like the signature music of this movie, which I thought was interesting. I thought the movie, though, it's definitely derivative of other zombie movies. I mean, I think zombies, even though George A. Romero, again, I'm going to repeat his name over and over and over again, because his credit, I mean, he created the zombie genre, pretty much. I mean, he didn't create zombies per se, but he kind of definitely added to the folklore that we'll see in movies like this. So, it definitely borrows from some of his movies, but, it does a good job. I mean, it tells the story it wants to tell, and it tells it very well. And it's a scary and shocking movie, and just extremely well done. So, yeah, gotta give it credit. Great movie. Love it. Definitely one you want to watch around Halloween time when you want to get scared. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.